Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. I'd like to welcome you to our 30-minute webinar. We conduct these every month with the goal of providing our audiences with an overview of the solutions that might be of interest to them. Because these webinars are only 30 minutes long, we sometimes are only able to scratch the surface, but we invite you to reach out with questions and we'll be more than happy to do a deeper dive with you into any of the areas that we're unable to cover on today's call. So just one other housekeeping item, if you have any questions while we're actually doing the webinar, please feel free to put them into the panel over on the side, and we will go ahead and try to answer them as we move through the presentation. So welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar is called Once Upon a Time, Visual Storytelling Using BI Solutions. And today's presentation will be presented by me, Brian Wallace, Director of Marketing at Kiefer Consulting, and Bradley Birch, who is our Senior Consultant. Bradley, I'd like to say hello to everybody.
Hello, my name is Bradley Birch. I just joined the Kiefer Power BI Analytics team, and I'm very excited to be able to show you some of the neat tools and visualizations that Power BI has for us.
Great. All right, so again, just real quickly, my name is Brian Wallace. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Kiefer Consulting. My email address is here, and also our telephone number, that is our office number, 916-932-7220. And I, again, am joined by Bradley, and we'll go ahead and start the presentation. And at about 3 or 4 slides in, I'm going to pass it over to Bradley, and we're going to do some very specific things, and we'll show you some things that Power BI can do for you. All right, so a little bit about us. We were founded in 1988, so we are now approaching our 29th year in business. We serve customers throughout California with offices in Folsom, California, San Francisco, and St. Louis. We are known as a leading provider for online solutions for the state of California. A pretty wide portfolio of work that we can actually share with you. You can actually also see it at kieferconsulting.com. We have some case studies there that show a little bit of what we're able to provide to clients. We have received awards for technology solutions that we have provided. We have deep expertise in .NET, SharePoint, infrastructure, and actually Office 365. We have partnerships with industry leaders in collaboration, user experience, content management, and workflow. So a little bit about our partnerships. If you see the connection here, we are a Microsoft partner. We built a lot of solutions on the Microsoft platform. And we have a handful of different partners that we work with that are really there to help us further the capabilities of the Microsoft offering. So some of our partners are AvePoint, Nintex, DocuSign, Brightwork, Sitecore, ShareGate, and a local provider, Pixelmill, who has a lot of expertise in user experience and interface and design. So when do customers typically reach out to us? We work on solutions that help improve collaboration, improve workflow, improve adoption of Office 365. We help customers maximize their investment in SharePoint. We build custom applications with .NET. We have some experience building mobile applications as well. We have an award-winning mobile application that we built for the California Lottery called their Second Chance application. And we like to help customers by allowing them to leverage solutions that can be repurposed, things that we've built, and then we can work with clients to customize them so that they meet their specific business requirements. So what we do, if you take a look at our portfolio of offerings, they kind of fall under 2 kind of main categories. One is collaboration solutions, and that includes things like public websites or intranet sites. We do application development, we do content document management, and we've also worked with clients to build corporate portals. On the other side, we've got productivity solutions, things like business automation, workflow solutions, or form solutions. Those are very common for us. And the thing that we're going to be talking about today is Power BI, and that would fall under the category of productivity solutions, and more specifically, executive dashboards. And we'll be able to show you some of these different dashboards that we're able to build in Power BI and how they can bring some real intelligence to decision making and analysis of data and trends. All right, we've reached a point in our presentation where I'm going to kick this thing over to Bradley Birch. Bradley is a senior consultant here at Kiefer Consulting, and he's been playing around with business intelligence tools for some time. And he's going to show you Power BI, what you can do with it. The title of this presentation is called Once Upon a Time, Visual Storytelling Using BI Solutions. So Bradley, take it away.
Thanks, Brian. It's a pleasure being here. Yes, I'd like to first talk about the BI market. And everybody might not be familiar with the Magic Quadrant, but the Magic Quadrant actually over time has changed from, it basically says who the leaders and the challenges are in the BI market. And this is as of 2017. And as you can tell, Microsoft is leading in the completeness of vision and the ability to execute. And this next BI visualization will demonstrate not only the Magic Quadrant, but also some of the capabilities within the Microsoft Power BI visualization. So as you can see that we have a number of competitors of Microsoft. We have Tableau over there. Here's SAP, Oracle, and it's for 2017. And so if you're able to click on here, you can just see Microsoft's product right there. And this is Power BI. We can also follow it by just clicking on it and to see where Microsoft has been since 2010, I believe. So it starts in 2010. You can see Microsoft moving. And then finally just leading the pack in 2017. Another thing you can do as well is kind of, if you hit the little button there, you can open this up and then see it this way too. Sometimes it's better not to have visuals in the background. If you really want to do some more analytics and really want to dive into the data to see where they were every point in time, you would just click on Microsoft here, and let's just watch this one move. This might be a little bit easier.
So Brad, this is pulling from some type of data source, right? So this visualization is pulling information from a spreadsheet or a website?
It could be a spreadsheet, it could be a website, it could be a database, it could be a text file, a whole number of different types of data sources.
Cool. That's really cool. Well, you can obviously see that Microsoft hasn't always enjoyed that number one spot. It's kind of moved around quite a bit since 2010, but they've always stayed in that upper right-hand quadrant, which is kind of cool because it means that they've always always been recognized as somebody who's been able to execute and has been recognized as a leader in the space.
Oh, yes. And everybody realizes that, most people realize that Excel is the number one BI tool in the world and has been the lead for decades.
Really? Cool. All right.
As we were talking, Brian, we were talking about making sense of data and where the data typically comes from. A lot of people work with databases or spreadsheets, and they want to make some information. They want to turn data into information into intelligence into knowledge. So basically, we have to first start with just the raw data. And so we go in there, we typically work with the data, and then we start trying to analyze, filter. If you're an Excel user, you do pivot table charts, you do a lot of sorting, and then you typically come up with some type of a report for your managers or for your staff or whatnot, and they're often static. And so that's okay, and then a lot of times it could be tabular, but it's very time consuming. We all know how it is to gather hundreds and hundreds of columns and rows and trying to manage that, or managing spreadsheets or changing formats and text files and what. So that is very consuming. And then on top of that, somebody always wants some type of measure, some type of chart, some way to visualize all the complexities of those tabular data sets and to bring in what does it tell me? And right. That's the hard part, Brian.
Yeah. That's I know the feeling because we've tried to peel through spreadsheets and try to extract information from it, and assuming that the information that's in the spreadsheet is accurate, it still takes a lot of time to even just get the information out.
Right, and to analyze it and to interpret it and to put narrative to it as well.
Right.
Visually, it's much more appealing to tell that story. And so right now, what we're doing is we're taking Power BI and pointing it to these different data sets. But on this particular presentation, we're actually going to point it to a website.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Just the website itself. It's going to pull the data from the website.
Yes, Power BI has the ability to do what we call web querying through Power Query.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll just go to a couple of websites. And I think we're from Folsom, California. We work and live here. And so we have a lake called Folsom Dam.
Yeah.
And we've had issues with our water in California, drought seasons, too much water, flood seasons, and whatnot. So one of the questions is what's going on with one of our lakes?
Cool.
And I think the next thing we're going to also be analyzing and consuming is a government website that produces data for transparency, and we're going to try to grab that data and make some sense out of it.
Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide here. This is what we call the e-skippers data, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Wait, are we done?
All right, Bradley. Now, this is something that I'm very familiar with because this is something that we used to dig into before you even got here.
Oh.
Was this e-skippers data? So I'm going to go to this slide real quick, and we'll put it in the slide presentation mode. So we were using this data that was coming from the DGS website, which is the Department of General Services, and they have what they call skippers data. And as you can see over here, there's a couple hyperlinks listed there on the left-hand side of the screen, and each one of those hyperlinks basically takes us to a spreadsheet. And what we would do is we would go to these spreadsheets, and what the information we were extracting here was what was happening from a procurement perspective in the state of California. So we have a lot of customers in the state, and we like to take a look at the different agencies in the state of California and find out what are they procuring and who they're doing business with. This is information that's helpful for us because it helps us decide how, it helps us determine our go-to-market strategy and what helps to tell us a little bit more about what the state is interested in from a purchasing perspective. So we would typically take these spreadsheets and kind of peel through them and create filters and pivot charts like we talked about before. And when Bradley came on board, one of the things we asked him about was this data that's sitting out here on this website. Is there any way for you to help us bring that data into a more consumable format, right? Can you make it easier for us to look at this information and make some sense out of it? And so Bradley built these dashboards here for e-skippers. And Brad, you want to take them on a tour of it? And I'm going to go ahead and kick you over to it so you can kind of see it, and then I'll let you kind of drive.
Well, what Brian was talking about is basically it's common everywhere. We have Excel files. We needed to go back 4 or 5 years, and they were published, Excel files in different types of formats, different versions of Excel per quarter. Since I think we took back 2012. Yeah, and so we took it back to 2012, appended all the Excel files into one single source using Power BI. And from that point, we were able to build dashboards and share them with our staff through Power BI apps and also through our SharePoint and everywhere. So what we're looking at right now is just one example of what Power BI can do. And taking all of those spreadsheets, hundreds of thousands of records, by the way, appending them all, organizing it, transforming the data, and building dashboards basically through the use of self-service Power BI. And this was done by what we call power users, data scientists, or people that are used to working with the data and the business analysts. And it could be the business analyst role, but the Power BI really enables the user to be able to do things that normally you would have to go to a DBA, a database administrator, ETL special, or basically go into your IT. And so what we're going to do is demonstrate what Skippers, as we call it, was able to do with appending all those data sets. So here's one of the dashboards. And as you can tell, we have various agencies in California that purchase, procure. And if we was to pick out one of these agencies, and I'll just scroll through here, and I'll find this one, Department of Technology.
Yeah, they have. I'm sure they have a pretty. They probably bought a lot over the years.
Oh yeah, and so this right here tells me how many number of suppliers there were, number of contracts, and then it also talks about the grand total of all those contracts, along with the slider. We
I like that.
This is one way of looking at the data, and we can just grab this and slide it over and give us any point in time. Let's see here. And see what they purchased down below here. And let me go on and.
Yeah, I think you shrunk it up even a little more, Bradley. If you take that slider, move it more down there.
Okay.
Yeah, because at that, I think there was. I think what with Department of Technology, they used to have a different name, California. So before like probably 2013, they were probably called something.
Oh,
else.
That's why it says formal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we can, but yeah, that's perfect. So you can see in a very specific date range,
right,
what they've done.
Yeah, down to the day.
Cool.
And then, and so we also have multiple type dashboards within this page. And so you see 1 to 4 right here. We just click on that. So we have the department's perspective, but then we want to see it from the vendor side. Brian, isn't this one of your requirements?
Yep, absolutely. We would want to look at which vendors are doing business with certain agencies and what those agencies are buying, right?
Sure. And so maybe we can just go down and you'll see there a whole host of number of vendors here, and maybe we'll just pop in our name, right?
Yeah.
Just to see, nice soft search. And there's Kiefer Consulting. And so this is what we've done during that period of time. So you have the agency perspective, and then from the vendor's perspective.
Yep.
And then we also have it this way as well. So we have vendors, and we'll just type in our name and we just do a soft search once again.
And what I thought was cool about this is we're just hitting that same data set that that same list of spreadsheets that we
These are all just spreadsheets sitting out there on the internet. Yep. We're scraping it and trying to make some sense out of all of that. And Cool. And so this basically shows all the services and products as Kiefer has done, and nice visual. And it also has the purchase year, date, and so forth.
Yeah.
Right here. You
Very
just
cool.
click on that, and it tells you what you've done and
what they bought, right? Yeah. Very cool.
And so that's how that's our Skippers data.
That's excellent. All right, I'm going to go back to the presentation here. That worked out great the way that worked there, so we can keep moving forward. That's a great example, and it's one that obviously, we talk about kind of the eat what you cook kind of strategy, right? So here we are talking to a lot of customers about business intelligence. What we wanted to do is figure out how can we put business intelligence to work for us, and really we applied BI to a bunch of spreadsheets that we used to spend a lot of time picking through, right? So this has been a really good for us as well. Now, this one is one that Bradley brought to us and said, hey, I think we should do a business intelligence dashboard on Folsom Lake, because you were driving across the bridge, right?
Oh, well, I seen all that water just gushing out, and there was a lot of concern, especially around in January.
Right.
And so we're right by the American River, and this is Sacramento. And so, what is going on with Folsom Lake and all the water and all the rain that we had? And is it going to flow, especially after the big concern over what was going on in Oroville. So it was only natural that we should apply Power BI to Folsom Lake.
Learn a little bit, right?
Learn a little bit.
Yeah. So you took the data from, I know a little bit about the story because as you were building this, I was talking to you a lot about where you were getting the data and how you were going to build it. And so you went to the California Data Exchange Center, which is part of DWR, Department of Water Resources, and they have this information on their website. And that's what it looks like, right? It's just this tabular table or tabular data on their website.
Yeah, it's not even Excel. It's a tabular data set, with multiple pages. And basically, what we were able to do, I did a soft search in Google. I just typed in Folsom Lake data. And it pointed me straight to here, this California Data Exchange Center. And I looked at the data and I said, wow, this is good data, and I needed to make some sense out of it. And so I went straight to Power BI. And I did a query, and not only did I pull just 1 month's worth of data, I actually pulled 25 years worth of data for every day. And that way we can do some phenomenal things interactively by seeing it by season, quarter, whatnot. And then we can also see our drought years as well. So we're trying to bring something to the table by actually using our trend analysis, and maybe we can start even doing some types of forecasting and predictive analytics, or at least know when's a good time to do some boating.
Right, at the very least, right? At the very least. So I know you took the data and you brought it into Power BI, and you started to pull the data in, and I know that you've got these insights here, which I thought were really cool. But this was something unique here, and you brought this to my attention. And I wanted to throw it in there. Is this drop in like volume, like in the lake? I mean, it goes from like 0.6 M right here, which is, I guess, kind of right on that red line, and then it goes down to like 0, right?
Yes. Well, after 25 years worth of data, and with all those different tables, unless you've seen it visually, you probably wouldn't even know it existed. So when we were drawing up the visuals to see how much storage was actually in Folsom Lake for any given day, we've seen this huge drop. So
and we know they didn't empty the lake on March 19th.
No, we would have heard about that one. And so this is a good case where we used our slider to actually slide into it to find out exactly what period of time that this happened. And so that drove us right to this one web page that showed on this date, 3/16/1996, something went wrong with the data. And so when something went wrong with the data, it's an anomaly. And before we can present the data, we got to take a look at it. This is part of the discovery process.
Right.
And it's a good thing, because a lot of times we might have to take these types of things out, round them up, whatever, but we're going to have to deal with it some way, somehow, because visually it's going to show as a blimp. Now, as the data scientists out there go, this is a good thing, because this helps them improve their data that they're putting out there. They might not have known it.
Right.
And so this is really great, and it gives them feedback to give back to water resources. Hey, working as a partnership, maybe we can do something about this and clean it up, or maybe this issue happened in other reservoirs as well. So we don't know how widespread this is, but it needs to be addressed.
Right.
But for this particular visualization, I basically excluded this 1 day out.
Right. Okay.
1 day out of 25 years.
Well, that's okay. I think we could probably make good sense of it without it. So that was where you had pointed out that there was kind of a miss in the data, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So we ended up, let's go ahead and take a look at it, because I'd love to see the finished product, because you ended up just doing the visualization for like 1992 to 2017, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I can take people on a little tour here. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. It's in Power BI. So You can go ahead and show them a little bit how this thing works.
Okay, so this is the Folsom Lake Reservoir, and it's based the capacity percentage. Basically, Folsom Lake capacity is 977,000 acreage footage, and that's how they measure it. And for every day, it will show the reservoir storage, the reservoir change, and the percent of capacity that it is.
Wow, that's great.
It also shows for this time period the maximum it was and the minimum it was. These are the minimum, maximum, and also a trend line that goes straight down. Now, this is where the slider comes in. You get to play with and kind of analyze it. You can tell here's the years, 95, 92 is over here, and all the way to 2017, 331. And so we actually... we refresh the data, so it goes out to the page, and so every day that's going to be refreshed. So that's a good thing. That's another thing that Power BI does. Once you schedule it, it goes out there and takes care of it. So you build it once and let the thing ripple, and there's so many different types of uses with it. With the slider, once again, we slide over into something more of a current period of time.
Yeah.
And you can really see the dips in the days. And you can really see the drought years as well.
Wow, yeah. Yep.
Let's go back just a little bit. Let's see. And what we're going to do is we're going to maximize this sum so we can see a better picture.
Okay.
We also have another graphical visualization right here.
Yep.
This one's slightly different, but I think that we can really appreciate what's going on here.
Yeah, I did see this. I like this one. I like this showing you that the reservoir storage by month. That one of the things that I liked about this one was it shows that June, May, July, and April are the months where the reservoir is usually at its highest level, which right now, we got so much rain here in January, you'd think, oh, is that all getting dumped in the lake? But we're pushing a lot of water out right now, right? So, but it's cool to see that, that the summer months is when reservoir storage really typically is at its highest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and that allows you to ask more questions.
Right.
And like you're leading into, well, how much water is actually outflow and inflow?
Right.
That would be the next question. But right now we're just focused on the storage. And so you can see that this is by the month, just like you were talking about, but this is by the year. And so we can see it just a yearly average.
Okay. Yep.
And then we can also see year and quarter. This is by year and quarter, different line chart. And in Power BI, you have so many ways to visualize it. And this is just a demonstration of the different types of ways we can take the same data and make some sense out of it, depending on what the purpose of it is.
Right. That's great. I love that.
And then, so one of the other things that we can do, so this is by the day. And so if we have drill down capabilities in Power BI as well. So this is by year. We expanded it up so you can really get into the detail. And then we can also drill down for year. Then we can go down to the quarters. Then down to the months.
Yeah. And then the days, right?
Then the days.
Right.
So you have many capabilities all within each one of these graphs.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Power BI really allows you to do many types of analyses, depending on if you're a data scientist, a business analyst, exec, or just a citizen on the outside. Basically, we took all those tables and create a visualization where it's not static and that they can interact, and then they can tell their own stories and their own experiences with Folsom Lake and on the day that they were there and what was going on. So I really do like what they put into it and how we can really do the storytelling, Brian.
That's cool. Yeah, I really like the visualization here. This one's obviously very relevant to us because it's like in our backyard. And like you were saying, Bradley, I mean, people ask a lot of questions about the lake storage and when is it at its capacity versus, when is it going to be at its lowest? And you can see here, in December, it's usually at its slowest, and that's when we're getting the most rain. So you'd think that would be the time it's going to be most full, but I guess we're waiting for all of that stuff to melt up in the Sierras. Yeah,
I think we have other stories to tell about Folsom Lake.
Right. So we've actually taken that same visualization that we were just sharing with the group and put it up on our website so that you can go there and click on it and play around with it and do those drill downs and see that stuff in more detail. We wrote a blog called Diving Deep into Data. We try to blog 2 to 3 times a month on different topics that would be of interest to our customers. And this one here allows you to jump right in and kind of see that Power BI visualization by just clicking on the link. So you can check that out later. And then we'll go ahead and move on here real quick. So how can you use Power BI, right? I guess we can kind of go through this list here. I mean, obviously, Department of Water Resources, we took their data, which is all on their website, which is stuff that they're making public, and it's, I guess they call that open data, right? Or open data or publicly available data,
transparency, right? for the
public, for the citizens, so the citizens can see it. Being able to take that data and bring those visualizations to a constituent allows them to kind of really see the data in a really useful way, right? So transparency in government, we talked with a lot of our clients because a lot of them are government agencies that are looking for ways to better communicate with constituents. So transparency in government is one way that your organization might use BI. Self-service. Tell us a little bit about, self-service is a big thing, right?
It's a huge thing. I've worked for the state of California for over 20 years before I joined Kiefer. And I worked with a lot of BI tools, applications, platforms, not to name them. And this tool, the Power BI, I did all myself. It didn't require any IT skills. As far as database work, moving data, migrating, security, I didn't have those issues because it was all self-contained in Office 365.
That's cool.
So it's a matter of being able to find the data sets and web queries, any type of thing, they're all out there. And just bringing it and doing the Power Query, transforming the data a little bit, and then presenting it. And then if it's what the organization would like, or if it needs to be published, then it can scale up, and it can even go to an enterprise level, and to be shared to all the corporation, the state agencies as well. So
cool. And then the interactive dashboards, just from a business user perspective, that's where, obviously I'm not on the technical end of building taking data and building a visualization, but as a consumer, as someone who likes to consume data, likes to learn about what the data is telling you, I think the interactive dashboards are amazing because it allows you to kind of layer in different bits and pieces of information and create a story. You can click on a day or a time, or I think the best example is in that Skipper's data that we showed earlier. If I want to take a look at a vendor over a certain time period and look for a specific product or service that they're selling, I can get some very detailed information on who they're selling to and go and work backwards. You know what I mean? And maybe start from a vendor perspective and then flip-flop and start from a customer perspective. Yeah.
Well, I learned just today about the formerly known as name.
Yeah, right.
And so you educated me, and that slider helped us out. And you told me, hey, watch, let's change the slider because they changed their name.
Right.
I had no idea about it, so I'm learning as we go. That was part of the discovery.
Right.
So it's the more you know, actually, the more you don't know. And that's what Power BI is enabling people to really drill down and discover and then interpret and to share. Why would we have multiple people in our staff or use all those resources to scroll through and sort through all of those Excel files when one person, one power user basically, can do this all himself and then share it with everybody?
Right, absolutely.
That's very cost saving. It's very efficient, and then you bring a lot of knowledge to the table when we're all sharing the same data.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, this looks good. I mean, we're actually getting to the close of the presentation. I would like to invite you to please keep up with us via social media. We do these webinars once a month, really focused on a lot of the features and capabilities of Office 365, helping a lot of folks kind of wrap their arms around what this technology can do for them from a collaboration and communication standpoint. We frequently write blog articles that are on our website, which is at kieferconsulting.com. We offer up free white papers. We do a lot of events too. We do a lot of outreach in the community with SharePoint and then also Office 365. So a lot of events that might be of interest. So follow us on social media. I'd love to have you a part of our larger community and get in our monthly newsletter. Right, every month we're finding 3 to 4 different things that customers are asking us about, and we bring it to you in a really nice consolidated newsletter each month. So again, thanks for joining us. Bradley, thanks a lot for taking the time to take us through Power BI. I thought it was really informative.
Well, thank you, and I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to the next webinar.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to show you more. I mean, this Power BI stuff, I mean, it's pretty amazing. Bradley's doing a lot of really cool things with it. If you have specific data sets that you're thinking about, hey, how do I take this data set and make it more accessible? Or if you have visualizations, kind of the idea for how we would like to present different information to the public, come talk to us and we can kind of talk you through it and help you guys maximize that investment in the technology, the Office 365 technology. So thanks again, and hope to see you next time.